Except this guy kind of took offense to it. He thought he was the big Purdy, right? Is that right?
Look at that.
Yeah, I mean, look at it, you know. Didn't bother to shave for this event. I mean,
And he made the Gillette All-American team.
that is the sad part about it.
They want the plaque back.
He's a former All-American. David Bobo was a two-time All-WAC selection at offensive line, consensus All-WAC selection. He was on the Outland Trophy finalist list. Part of the Big Uglies, of course, blocked for LaDainian Tomlinson, who led the nation in rushing in '99 and 2000. But he was more than a football player. It was more off the field where he really made an impact.
Yeah, you know, Joe Briggs, one of his teammates, the guy that played next to him, said, you know, you didn't have to worry about David Bobo. You knew what he was thinking. You know, offensive linemen are a different breed. They're big people. They get up early. They go lift. Their job is to shove people around. And the key is for that group to know what the other one's doing. There's a lot of unspoken communication. And he said you can always depend on David on and off the field to be a great teammate and also be looking after or looking out for the guy next to him.
You know, the one memory I have of the Sun Bowl with David Bobo was that whole season was that big thing on his elbow that he played with. He had a bum elbow that year, right?
He looked like RoboCop.
Yes.
He had this big brace on his left elbow, and the defensive, especially the linebackers for USC in the Sun Bowl, got used to getting hit across the knees with that elbow brace. He sprung Basil Mitchell on that 62-yard run early in the Sun Bowl with a great block and made it all happen.
Yeah.
But played through it, played 2 years with a bad elbow that needed multiple surgeries. Tough guy.
You know, we did hear one story, though, about a Friday afternoon before a home game that he wasn't going to play.
Yep.
You remember this story? Who was that?
Yeah, it was early on. Jeff Milliken, he's here tonight. Jeff shared this. Apparently, this is early in the career, and he and David didn't make the travel squad, so they didn't go with the team to the hotel. And they decided that they would go and make sure that they had adequate supply of Coors Light for the evening and the weekend. And they just happened to walk into a store where a running backs coach, Bud Casey, happened to be there as well, getting him a big goal.
Oh.
They kind of met at the counter at the same time. And I think the guy at 7-Eleven probably said, "Is there a problem?" And yes, there was. And they ended up getting to meet Coach Casey out at the stadium. This is the old Amon G. Carter. They had 65 rows on the east side, and they got to taste 20 or 25 sets of stadium steps. All brought to you by Coors Light.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would welcome our first inductee into the 2016 Hall of Fame class, David Bobo and his hair, ladies and gentlemen.
What an honor to be standing here in front of so many family, friends, Letterman alumni. Thank you. I would like to say thank you to the Letterman Association and Board for the election and induction into the Hall of Fame. This distinction is just remarkable. I have to say a huge thank you to TCU's great teachers, administrators, and difference makers who laid the knowledge base that I still use today. Thank you to the Theta chapter of Kappa Sigma for always supporting me, and to the trainers for only putting the 10-man back together more times than me. And seriously, you guys are amazing. Thank you. And thank you to the equipment staff for always having everything the way I liked it. There was no one better in the business. You guys truly spoiled us back in the day without big-time sponsors. Thank you to the video staff for all your long, thankless hours. And to my numerous coaches, Pat Sullivan for getting me here, Pete Hayner for coaching me my first 2 seasons on the offensive line, Coach Fran for helping us turn TCU in the right direction, and Jim Bob Helduser, my offensive line coach my first 3 seasons, eventual colleague and great friend who today is in a better place. I want to say thank you to his wife Janet Helduser, his wife and his daughters Kyleen and Jenna for loaning us so many long hours of their father's life to allow us to grow not only as football players, but to teach us as many life lessons that he had to offer. I would also like to thank Coach Patterson for accepting to coach our team that final game my senior year. Now, I've been extremely lucky in my life. And some have said luck is where opportunity and preparation meet. But as I think about everything and everyone that I'm thankful for during my time at TCU, I feel I may have just been lucky. The extraordinary part of my college career is our group saw the really bad and the really good. I mean, we were 1-10 and then 10-2. But the luckiest part, I played with great teammates my whole way through. I want to say thank you to every scout team guy I ever went against that made me work my butt off and made our entire team better. Especially Shanks, Kalovich, McDonald, Ruiz, Brugel, just to name a few, and I know I have left out numerous individuals. Thank you to the senior class of 2000 that I was part of, because you guys made my experience. Thank you to every old lineman that I've ever played with and that played next to me. Thank you to LaDainian Tomlinson for always making us big uglies look so dang good. I was extremely lucky to be part of this group to have the big uglies. It is hard to find a group that could finish our careers with 24 straight games with the same Warriors fighting day in and day out, side by side. We weren't just teammates, we were brothers to this day. Mike Keithley, I'm thankful that I had our 5 years together. I loved learning from you, patterning my game after you, and thank you. Victor Payne, there was nothing better than having you in the huddle on those tough days. You're one of the strongest guys I've ever met, and I'm proud that I played with you. Thank you. Jeff Garner, you're the man that held us together through the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it was great having you. Thank you. Shane Ladwig, I still remember how bad those quarter eagles were when it was you, me, and Mills during freshman camp, just the three of us. Don't know how we survived. Thank you for fighting through all those years of injuries and always being there when we needed you. You're one of the toughest guys I know, and thank you. Jeff Milliken, Mills. I know when we walked into our dorm in '96, we didn't know each other, but we lucked out. I never knew we'd finish our careers side by side, or that just in the tone of my voice, when we broke that huddle, that I'd forgotten the snap count from the huddle to the line, or that I might need a little extra help on that play, or that I was just telling you to hurry the hell up and get out of my way. It was a pleasure working next to you. Except for that time, after that San Jose loss, that bad loss, we were out on that field, that muddy field, and you got pulled out, and I scooted down because I didn't want to get our running back blown up. And I got my ass chewed, but that may be a story for another day. So, seriously, you always had my back. The times that I was hurting, you were there. The times that I needed a push, you were there. The times that I needed a cheap shot on somebody, who am I kidding? You did that before I even needed it. I love playing next to you. You helped me every step of the way. You made it fun, and thank you. We were and we are the Big Uglies. Now, when I say I was lucky, it shines brightest in my family as well. I was born even on a football Friday night in Odessa, Texas in October. My brother, John Paul, a graduate of TCU. If it wasn't for you in your sweatpants as Dan Marino and the Miami Dolphins, and me with my Brian Bosworth haircut, as John Elway and the Denver Broncos, pretending one of us was down by 6 with 5 seconds to go, helping the other guy with the comeback, even if it did take 5 pass interference calls, because we were both couldn't catch and we were destined to be linemen. You helped me develop my love for the game, and I loved every minute of it. We're brothers, we're friends, and I love you, man. Thank you. Oh, and since we got everybody, I'm sorry about hitting you with that center block, but let's be honest, when we were playing hide and go seek, I told you not to touch me, and you kind of leaned in. My sister Jamie, also a graduate of TCU, who was a scholarship swimmer. She graduated in the spring of '96, holding 3 swimming records when she left. When I was deciding on where I was going to accept a scholarship, I have to think I was chasing my big sister's greatness, but in hindsight, what a tough act to follow. How neat is it that I had an opportunity to be like my sister, though, go to TCU, chase Jamie, excel, and reach to be great. She was always a competitor. I saw her work ethic, tenacity, and fire, and I was lucky that I had her as my example to follow. I love you and thank you for always being you. To my parents, Jim and Suzanne, they're amazing. In '97, I started my first 3 games, my redshirt freshman year, but missed the remainder of the year with my dislocated elbow. They only missed these 3 games. They traveled to 36 straight, whether I was starting or not. Having 3 kids growing up, I know they missed events, but there isn't a time in my mind that they were both standing on the sideline and then waiting as I was the last one out of the locker room By the way, I'm sorry for that. Then there was Mom always saying after every swollen knee, another elbow surgery, or a new set of crutches. You know, you don't have to play this sport, but I did, Mom. I can't thank you guys enough for being so reliable, and I'm so lucky to have you two in my corner. Through the good and the bad, and always helping me come out the other side unscathed. I love you two. I don't know anybody with experience as good as mine. Thank you. Now, to the prettiest girl in the room, my wife Carly, who also happens to have run track and cross country for our frogs. It's funny how a dislocated elbow introduced us. If it wasn't for that terrible spring back in '98 that practice, I may have never had the nerve to ask out a friend that day. Thank you for always supporting me on the field those last 3 seasons. Always knowing when to be there for me when I needed you. You're so special in so many ways. You understand me, you push me, you let me be me. You make me better, you love me for who I am. I'll have you know that for the last 16 years, there's not a day that goes by that I don't thank God for you being by my side. Thank you for life cramming with me, always knowing that we never know what tomorrow will bring. You're my best friend, I thank you and I love you. My final thought is to my boys, Ford, Brody, and Knox. I'm so thankful that you could be a part of this weekend. As you continue to grow up, your dreams are going to grow up with you. Just like your grandfather Judge has said, anything you can believe, you can achieve. I challenge you 3 to dream big, work hard, chase greatness, and life cram, and never be satisfied. You will fail. You will struggle. You will have hard times at some turn. But it's how you get up and just keep moving to try again that matters. There will always be someone by your side that you will have helped you and have taught you a valuable lesson. Take it, learn from it, and do your absolute best job that you can do. Your mom and I will always be proud of you, whatever you do and wherever you go. Again, thank y'all from the bottom of my purple heart. Go Frogs.
Association inducted 6 former standout athletes into its Hall of Fame. The assistance of Letterman's president, J.T. Augenbaum, director of Intercollegiate Athletics, Chris Del Ponte, and honorary host of Hall of Fame TCU basketball great Dr. Jeffrey and his honor rookie. Let's now honor the class of 2016. As well as a 2-time All-Western Athletic Conference selection and a finalist for the Outland Trophy. One of the big uglies that paved the way for LaDainian Tomlinson to lead the NCAA in rushing. Let's welcome home David Bobo.